Hey everybody, this is Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and welcome to another episode of my Out of the Park Baseball 19 playthrough with the Phillies. I'm back in town and I'm ready to start the 2031 season. All the roster moves are made and set, my staff's set, pitching wise, and we're going to look at a couple things here before we start simming, but I figure we'll probably sim out a couple weeks and see how we start out. Hopefully there won't be any major injuries happen. We got through the spring in pretty good shape. I'll look at the disabled list before we get started, but first off, looking at the goals that my owner has set for this year, we're going to have a tough time meeting all of them. A couple of them we've already lost out on, unless Vandenhoeven just has a breakout season. And I don't really expect that, but I do think he's going to be a solid contributor, but he's not going to be a star. And I think my owner is probably looking for someone who's really going to anchor the team offensively from that first base position. And Vandenhoeven's not going to be that guy. And we lost Sean Coriolan, who he wanted me to sign to an extension, but I couldn't swing it based on his age and the kind of pitcher that he was. So those two goals were going to fail already. And reaching the playoffs, and this is the year he wanted me to make it to the World Series, that's going to be iffy. It was a poor offseason, and this team's really struggling. I still think offensively, barring injuries, that we can have another good year. We got a couple guys in Tennessee there at third base, and another guy, a catcher, I believe in Double-A, who might make it to the majors this year, and they look to be pretty solid contributors offensively, at least. But the pitching staff is just really poor, and there's no other way to say it. We're still going into this year without a true number one starter, and I've got a decent balance in the bullpen, but I don't think it's going to be enough, especially with the way the division's playing out now, with Miami getting stronger, Atlanta always competitive now, and New York, Washington, those two teams being competitive. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm not really looking for this to be the kind of year where we reach the World Series, and it might even be that we're looking at a kind of a rebuild as we go into the next offseason. But first things first, I wanted to look at the season predictions, or preseason predictions from I think that they do some multiple sims to arrive at these figures. So we'll look at how the teams are predicted to finish. Looks like the Yankees are going to have a strong year, and they've got Tampa Bay making the playoffs again. And if they do, just like last year, they made it as a wild card team, went all the way to the World Series. Oakland looks like they'll be strong again this year. And based on the predictions, the White Sox might have the best record in baseball. A couple of up-and-coming stars are going to have good years based on these predictions. Kinsler, who's solid at Oakland, he's looking like he'll have another good year. Justin Bellinger, who is now with Kansas City, they've got him predicted to have another good year. He's on the milestone watch to get to 2,000 hits. I don't think he'll get there this year, but he may reach 1,500 RBIs if he has a full season. Pitching wise, nothing really stands out too much. I've noticed sometimes the pitching predictions, they're a little bit harder to manage, I guess, in the game, because a lot of times these pitching predictions don't really hold true. They've got a few guys with double-digit wins, but no 20-game winners there in their predictions in the American League. In the National League, they have us finishing at 500, which might even be a stretch with the lineup and the staff that we have, pitching staff that we have. But they think Miami's going to win the East this year, and looks like they've got Washington being the wild card team along with Pittsburgh, which would be a big surprise. I don't think Pittsburgh's had that great of a playthrough in a while. Well, they've got them tied with Milwaukee in the Central. Cincinnati, they expect to have a pretty good year. And then the Giants in Arizona should be battling for the West. Dowdell is expected to have another good year, but he's going to be limited probably due to injuries. He's currently listed as wrecked. He missed, I guess, 50 games or so last year. He missed half the season in 2029. So since his MVP year of 2028, he's still playing strong, but he's being injured too much. I don't really know if he'll be able to have another full season this year. Salinas with Washington, he's a good guy. He's had a good career in this playthrough, but not really seeing too many other names I recognize all that much. Ian Plyler, they expect him to have another solid year for St. Louis. No 20-game winners, though, in these predictions. And once again, no Phillies either in offense or in the pitching side in terms of top performers. One of the things that I've started to worry about since last year, the minor league system rankings, we are still without a top prospect in either pitching or offense. And once again, we're dead last in the minor league system. And I know I haven't had that great of a draft the last 2 years, but it's really tough to see us rank that low. I don't think it doesn't look good for the future if we can't start drafting some star-type players. Looks like Ramirez for the Nationals, he's the top prospect, and they're currently the number one minor league system, and they're going to be tough for years to come with the kind of players they've got developing right now. They've got another good third baseman who's looks like he's starting out at Washington this year, as is Ramirez. He made it to AAA last year. Got a good pitching prospect there, so they could be in for a pretty long run there in the East. So I hope that we get better at that, because I really try to keep my minor league system competitive. If you have been following me since the start of this series back in version 18, I think at one point, either that first off season or the second, we were ranked top 10 in the league in the minor league system, and I would really like to get back to that level. And if we have a bad year this year, that might be how we do it. But you can see the pitching staff is really going to be struggling. Looking at the pitching ratings, we have no 4-star even in our starting rotation. I've decided to go with Urrutia back in that 5th spot, and Diego Medina, who I picked up in the offseason. He's got some good stuff, but he's a borderline starter, and he's had some decent years in this playthrough, but I think I like him coming out of the pen for right now, but we'll see how that develops. And then I've got Bobby Austin as my closer this year for the first time. And then the lineups, no real surprises. Kanan Smith is going to start against righties. Kelly will start against lefties and catching, but the rest of the lineup is pretty much the way it was last year. Vanden Heuvel, I'm hoping he's a solid 3-star from my scout, potential 3-star from OSA. I hope he gets his contact or his batting average up to maybe the 260, 270 line. I think that'd be pretty good. He's got some good power. And I hope that Barge comes back from really a poor year from him last year. The production was okay, but he just batted 244. That's really not characteristic of him. The outfield with Elman, Vargas, and Ochoa looks okay with Neidiger and Molina coming off the bench. So I think that's it. That's all I wanted to look at before we get started. We're going to open up on the road against St. Louis, who hopefully that'll be a pretty decent team to start out against. I don't think they're going to have that great of a year this year either. So let's get it started. First game, we lose 1-5. I'm wondering if they went with Plyler. Barge was 2 for 3. Vallejo, not a terrible start from him. 5 Ks, no walks, but little shaky performance there from Rozier in the bullpen. He was a guy I picked up on waivers, I believe. Nope, I picked him up in the Rule 5 draft. And Plyler did start and had just a great game. 6 innings, 1 hit, 12 strikeouts. I didn't realize he was a lefty. He does. He throws left. So we're no game there. See if there's any big news. And my scout says he found someone in Venezuela, but he's a half-star potential. He's got a lot of development to do if he's going to be somebody who makes the team. So Kevin Nelson out of Washington, he's already out for the year. Pretty decent. Looks like he's a reliever. I don't know if he's going to be a big impact for them, but we did win 2-1 on the road. Barge, another good game, 2 for 4, had a home run. Lockfeld picked up the win in 6 innings, just 1 run, 7 strikeouts, so he looked good. Austin picked up his first save. And the last game of the series, we won 12-4, big win. Barge again, 2 for 6, scored 2 runs, drove in 3. Devers had a good game. Machoa 2 for 3. Ailman 2 for 4. Looks like we had Devers had 2 home runs in the game. Ailman had a home run, and Molina had a home run coming off the bench. So Loghead, who this guy picked up in free agency on the offseason, wasn't a terrible start, but he only got 4 innings. I'm hoping he's going to give me a little bit better performance than that. Any news to look at here? Pittsburgh lost their closer, it looks like, for the year. Doesn't have all that much potential, or his ratings don't look all that great to be closing. And Corey Lime did sign. He was hanging out there for a long time in free agency, but looks like the Cleveland Indians picked him up, and they're going to give him a 1-year deal for $13 million. I wasn't willing to go that high on him, to be honest, but not to be coming off the bench. I wonder if they're going to use him as a closer or in the rotation. And so we finished that first half week ranked 8th in the team power rankings. So that's not too bad. That was a good win. Now we're going to be playing at New York. And we lose the first game 6-7. Vargas had a good game. Niger played in place of Ailman, looks like. No. Yeah, with I am going to be sitting Ochoa against lefties, so he is going to be platooning there. I'm not sure how much playtime he's going to get overall, but I didn't really want to risk him. And Molina, 1 for 1 with 2 RBIs. Barge, another good game, 1 for 3. Cantelme, who I did decide to put in that starting rotation. He's a 3-star right now with some room to develop. Not a great game for him either. First game, 4 innings. And Carvente lost it in the 9th, looks like. And lose the second game 2-4. And I got a big decision here. I was looking at this before I started the episode. I'm not sure what to do with Alex Kane. He's got a major league contract. And his ratings have kind of been slipping a little bit. And I just don't think he's going to fit anywhere except the bullpen. And I just think I have better options. Let me look and see if there's anyone there. I mean, I'd rather go with Medina, for instance, who started out really good in limited play this year. So I think what I'm probably going to have to do with him is see if he will. Yeah, he will stick right now anyway at AAA. You can see my disabled list is currently empty. That's not going to stay that way for long, but it's pretty amazing that we've got no big injuries going on right now. So how did we lose this one? Urrutia pitched a pretty decent game, 6 innings, only 3 earned runs, 6 strikeouts. Castro looked good in relief. Well, he gave me 2 innings in relief. Offense, Devers, he's off to a pretty decent start, but Lewis is struggling and Vargas is struggling, so got to get that top of the lineup moving. And Vandenhoeven, he is just 3 for 18 so far. Tough way to start the first full week at New York, but then we got Atlanta coming up, and Atlanta just lost a pretty decent starting pitcher for 7 months. That could be a big blow for them. And we finally win one at New York, so we finish out the series with a win. About to start against Connor Seabold, a big loss for Tampa Bay, but we're about to start against Atlanta at home. But let's see how we won this game. Vargas finally a good game, 3 for 5. Lewis good. Bars looked good. Vallejo got the victory. 7 pretty strong innings, 5 Ks, just 2 walks, and Austin picked up his second save. So starting out at home against Atlanta, we lose 2-5. Vargas another good game, 3 for 4. His average is now after these 2 games is up to 310. Bard's got another hit. Off to a pretty good start for him. Vandenhoeven 1 for 4, but Logfeld 5 runs in 5 innings. And I know he's going to be very up and down this year. I'm just going to have to kind of expect that. An injury here for Baltimore, a reliever they're going to be missing for the season, looks like. So we win the second game 9-7. And our record is now 4-4, so we're playing right at 500. Vargas, another good game, 2 for 4, scored 2 runs, drove in 4. Bars was 2 for 3. And Loghead, not a strong outing, 4 1/3, 6 earned runs. His ERA in 2 starts is 8.64. But Austin did get another save, his third, although he gave up a run. And then Medina picked up the win in the bullpen. He's looking really good. 5 games, 5 innings, 10 Ks, and he's yet to give up a run. So he could turn out to be a pretty good pickup for me for this year. And so now we've got, Miami's got another young pitcher there that looks pretty good. A current 3-star, potential of 3.5, but he's off to a good start. So let's see if we can win this series against Atlanta. And we do, 3-1, a good game to end it up there. And we're currently now 5-4, tied in a 4-way tie for first in the National League East. But let's look and see how we won the game. Vargas, another solid game, 3 for 4, and he is on pace for some monster numbers. Those numbers won't hold true, but boy, he's having a good start. And he's 3.5 potential from my scout. Still not as strong from OSA, but I do like that guy. I like what he can do offensively. Cantelmi picked up the win, 7 strong, solid innings, and Austin got his 4th save. So in the news, Nomar Mazara got his 400th career home run. He's had a pretty decent career in this playthrough. He started in 2016 with Texas and stayed with Texas until 2028, and he's been with the Mets and the Dodgers. But he's now looking at almost 2,300 hits. He just got the 400 home runs. He's a career 283 hitter. Pretty good career for him. And Players of the Week in the American League, it was Jonathan Medina, a young right fielder, 4-star with a 4.5 potential from the Angels. And in the National League, it was Jorge Vargas. So I figured he had a good chance at that because he was on fire. 13 for 25, 4 home runs and 9 RBIs. I don't know if he's ever won that award. Let me see. That was his first Player of the Week award. So good job for him. And then weekly team rankings, we are currently 8th. So still in the top 10 after a week and a half of play. As far as the standings in the rest of the league, anything really standing out here? The Red Sox are 6-4. They might be turning it around. Detroit 8-1. They're off to a great start. Baltimore struggling, 3-7, and the West looking a little different there. But there's 3 teams currently above 500, so that could be a competitive race. And then of course the National League East. Wow, that's really competitive. Milwaukee's off to another hot start, 7-3. The Cubs are looking good, and then the Giants in Arizona, who the preseason predictions had those guys duking it out, and looks like that's how it started. Josh Porter in the National League already at 6 home runs. This guy is a potential 5-star player. He's only 22. He's got a potential 19 home run rating. On pace for 108 home runs. That won't hold true, but he's a good player to keep an eye on. Vargas is leading the league in stolen bases, and he is tied for second in home runs. And here's another guy, Hecker, who was in our system until we traded. He's now at San Francisco, and he's off to a great start. So what is he rated? So my scout has him at 3 with 3.5 potential. OSA has him at 2.5. But some pretty good overall individual ratings. He might turn out to be a good player. He's just 25, about to turn 26. So I figured he would potentially turn into a good player in this league. I just didn't have room for him with Barge developing like he did. All right, so let's go ahead, and I think I'll play through this other week. We're at home against the Mets and then San Diego. So a tough week. See if we can at least handle New York. We win that first one 2-1. So uncharacteristically, our pitching has started off well. Another great game from Vargas, 2 for 4. Urrutia didn't get the win, but he gave me 6 shutout innings. Austin picked up his 5th save. He's on pace for 81 now for the year. And any big news here? Brendan Rodgers, who's with the Red Sox now, he picked up his 2,000th career hit. Looks like he's had a pretty good career here. 2,000 hits now, almost 300 home runs. A lot of that came with Colorado. Career 290 hitter, pretty good player overall. So second game against New York, we win big, 13-1. Vargas, he's not going to stop hitting anytime soon. It looks like he's hitting .413 now. He was 3 for 5. Lewis was 4 for 5. Barge 2 for 5. He's off to a great start. Elman had a good game, 3 for 5. Vandenhoeven, who has really tanked so far, at least he had a good game. It looks like we had Vargas, Vandenhoeven, Elman, Devers each had home runs in this game, and Vallejo picked up his 2nd win. So this is the guy I picked up in trade last year around the trading deadline. He's starting out pretty strong for me. He's a 3-star pitcher. He's probably my best overall rated pitcher in that starting rotation. So hopefully that he can keep that up. So we've won the series here. Let's see if we can sweep him. And we do, 8-2. Wow. Off to a great start now. We're 8-4, tied with Washington in the division lead. Devers 3 RBIs in the game. Vandenhoeven 2 for 3. Kelly was 3 for 4. And looks like Vandenhoeven picked up his 2nd home run. Devers his 4th. And Lockfeld got the win, his 2nd. Pretty strong for 5 innings, 7 Ks. And then Wright, who is another good young reliever, he had a strong outing there in relief. So our first season sweep against the Mets, so that was good. And now we're a 4-game series at home with the Padres. This could be tough. We lose the first one 1-4. Looks like we're playing better on the road almost. Kelly had a good game, but pitching wise, Loghead is really not doing that great. 5 innings, only 1 run, but 5 walks. Not a great performance from him. So the second game against San Diego, we lose in extra innings 6-7. That's been a problem the last few years, those extra inning games. Devers a good game, 3 for 5. Luis Vargas still 3 for 5. He's still hitting. Vandenhoeven 1 for 4. Cantelme was strong through 6 innings, just 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts, but Castro blew it in relief. He's not doing too good starting out the season. And Wright, he gave up a couple runs there in relief. Not a great game. So we're going to have to win these next 2 just to split the series. Let's hope we can do it. We're now down to 8-6, half game behind Washington. And we win 5-1. So there's still a chance to split the series. Vargas, another good game. Barge 2 for 3, a good game. He's on a good pace so far, but he's not playing a lot. I wonder if I've got the lineup screwed up here. He shouldn't. Yeah, I've got against lefties. I've got him sitting a little bit, but he still should be playing. Not sure what's going on there. I mean, he's on pace now for just 130 games started. That doesn't seem right. Elman 2 for 4, good game for him. Ochoa is really stinking it up to start the year. Urrutia, good game, 7 1/3, no runs. He started off really hot. Even though he's only got the 1 win, he's looked good in his outings. So last game against San Diego, and we lose 2-5. So they handled us pretty well in this one. Elman was 1 for 2. Vallejo really blew up. 6 2/3 innings, 5 earned runs. Castro looked okay in relief. Medina looked good, but we're now down to 9-7, and that puts us just a half game out. But 4 teams now. New York is 5-10, but 4 teams within a game in that division. So let's see how we're looking here for the player of the week. Kinsler for Oakland, no real surprise. He's a 5-star player and just 27 years old. He's had a good start to his career. And then in the National League, went to Mikael Phillips for Milwaukee. This is his rookie year. 2-star player, but he's off to a good start. And then for the power rankings, we are now 9th. So we're staying pretty close to where we were. The standings are really tight in that East Division. I expect New York to play a little bit better. They're off to a 6-game losing streak, but I think they'll be tough as the year goes on. And then Milwaukee and Cincinnati are doing well in the Central. Pittsburgh has picked it up a little bit. Cubs starting to lose out. And then San Francisco, the only team in the West right now above 500, but that could be a competitive division too, the way it's looking. And then in the American League, how about the Tigers? 13-3. That's a hot start for them. Kansas City is back winning again. Chicago 8-7. They're probably going to start playing tougher there as the year goes on. Same with the East. Boston's doing good so far, but you can't count out Tampa Bay or New York right now. And then Oakland, they're currently leading the West. In terms of individual performances, this Juan Ochoa, who's another Juan Ochoa, he's a young guy for Detroit. He's off to a great start, hitting .431. I don't think that'll hold true, but good start for him. And then pitching wise, Sean Gibson for Boston, he's off to a good start. He hasn't had a great career. He looked like he started out as a reliever his first year in the majors, but he's looking good so far this year. And then Zach Owenby, who had a great year last year, he's leading the league in strikeouts again. He had 268 last year. He's on pace for 360 this year. He's off to a good start. In the National League, Vargas is currently leading in wins above replacement, so I hope that he continues to hit. I know he's going to have some dips here sooner or later, but I hope he keeps hitting. And then Ian Plyler, no surprise, he's leading the league in strikeouts and actually off to a good start with wins. He's already got 3 wins. And saves, Bobby Austin is tied for second. Or at least he's third. Sorry, he's third with 5. No other. Vargas is leading the league in stolen bases. Omar Baldo, he's been in the league for a while. He's off to a really hot start. I don't think that'll continue. But we've been able to stay away from the injury bug so far, and I think that's how we're winning. If you look at how we stack up offensively, we haven't really gotten gear yet. I think batting average, we're 8th, home base percentage 9th. We're just 6th in runs scored. I hope that improves as the year goes on. Pitching has been surprisingly well, so that was the scare going into the season. So I think these will flip a little bit as we keep playing. But right now we're 2nd in earned run average. Starters ERA is 4th. Giving up some hits though, and that probably is going to start hurting us down the stretch here. But I do like how we've started off. Defensive efficiency is really low, 15th. Man, I hope that improves. But so far, I like how we're starting. I'll probably sim some offline, and I guess the next episode will be a play. I'll go ahead and play out a game. I'll look for a good matchup as the season goes on. And then I've got some ideas for starting another series, and I wanted to wait until the season started and we got the major league rosters became a little bit more set. I'm thinking about doing a GM only challenge. If you've watched me this far, you know I'm a control freak when it comes to this game, so I like to manage and GM. I'm thinking about just doing kind of a GM only challenge and see if I can take a team that's struggling and turning it around. And the team I have my eye on for several reasons is the Reds, because I think obviously they're off to a tough start. Their manager just got let go a few days ago. They have a couple of big contracts on the team that's hurting them, and Homer Bailey, a pitcher, and of course Joey Votto at first. But I think they've got some good prospects, and I've kind of gotten an attachment to them because where I live, there's only the closest teams really are about 5 hours away, and Cincinnati is one of the teams that I've gone to see live a few times, and I enjoy watching them play. I love that stadium and the city. So I would like to see if I can take over that team and turn it around, but I want to give myself a little bit of a challenge and do GM only, so that'll be something new for me. But I'll probably start doing that after I get through this season, and I might mix them up and continue the Phillies for a while and then pick up that Red series. But I think the way this is looking, I really think I'm probably going to have to do some rebuild on the Phillies. If I just signed the 3-year contract with the owner after last season, so he could still fire me if we don't make the playoffs or have a good year. But I feel like we've got to come up with some young prospects, or we've got to still improve that starting rotation to get us to the next level. And it looks like we're not going to be doing that with our farm system. So I think it's at least, if nothing else, we do have some money for free agency, and we'll try it again next year. Try to go after some of the better starting pitchers that are out there. But that'll do it for this episode. So we're 9-7, still competing, and hopefully I'll play through another month or two, and we'll still be in the mix and having a good year. But thanks for watching. Thanks for everybody subscribing, and I hope you're getting some enjoyment out of the series. And if you like the game, as I like the game, then hopefully this is something fun to watch for you. But I'll see you next episode when we play out a game. Thanks.